There are so many people all over the world who are presently suffering from depression and anxiety disorders, but there are very few individuals that come out to share their recovery success stories, especially in Africa. And Zambia, of course, is not an exception. It is for this reason that we bring to you such conversations to talk about recovery success stories from people that have experienced the illnesses themselves in their own bodies in order for you to learn and get inspired. My name is Rachel Maweza, also known as Raweza, and with me is a very special guest, somebody I've been looking forward to having for some time now. So I am so excited. He suffered from generalized anxiety disorders with panic attacks. Please, you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for having me. I was looking forward to this.
You may kindly go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Hello, viewers. My name is Conrad Vusigu Muyamba. I'm a fifth-year student of pharmacy at the University of Zambia Ridgeway campus. And like Rachel said, I have suffered, or rather I've suffered from generalized anxiety disorder with panic attacks. Yes, that's about it.
All right. So we've heard from him. Well, can you tell us how you fell in the anxiety cycle or how the disorder started, and at what point did you know exactly what you were suffering from at the time?
Okay. All right. So basically, there was no distinctive time at which the disorder itself started where I can say, okay, it started at this time, because symptoms were there, but they were not much, I would feel them once in a while, but they would go, and I really never cared about it because it wasn't hazardous at that time, and it didn't trigger any worry in me. But the biggest thing happened when I was in my second year at the University of Zambia Ridgeway campus. We're having a class in anatomy. Then whilst I was in the class, that's when I had my first full-blown panic attack, where I felt the air around me being thick. I could barely breathe. Then my sight became very blurry, the vision became poor, my heart began pumping blood at a high pace, and then I was like, what's happening? Am I dying or something? So at that point, that's when I really had it, and I was like, what's this? I never really knew what it was. So answering the question of at what time did I know that I had it, it was in my second term when that happened, and then from term 2 up to term 4, I was having it, just googling like what am I having, some things trying to check around. Then some things would come up like, no, it's a heart attack. Google would bring some things like that, and then I was so scared. Heart attack at this age, so I was so scared. And then after some time I met Dr. Chiwe, who took me to UTH. Then it was there that we tested, and then I knew to say I had GAD from the hospital.
I see.
Sure.
Now, I have met in my journey as a therapist so far. There are so many people that I've met who feel or who think that anxiety is just some fancy illness, or it's an illness for white people, and they think it's just somebody worrying too much. Somebody is just thinking too much. That's what anxiety disorder is. But being somebody that has suffered from anxiety disorder myself, obviously you and I understand that they are both psychological and physical symptoms as well.
Yes.
So I would like you to share with the viewers some of the physical as well as psychological symptoms that you experienced, and also if you can highlight on your worst symptom. Yes.
All right, I'll be glad to do that. Okay, so firstly, I would feel the air becoming thick around, such that when I inhale, I wasn't inhaling enough air for me to breathe. Then when that happens, I would feel some strange tightness in my chest. Like my chest would just feel so tight all of a sudden.
Yes.
More like someone is like compressing it, but there was actually no one compressing it.
Yes.
Then from there, I would feel very lightheaded. My head would feel very light, as if there's nothing in it, and then I could just fall and faint at any time. Then just about that same time, there will be dizziness coming in. I would feel very dizzy, and I'll be like, "What's happening?" Then my vision as well would
Yes.
become blurry, like I couldn't see clearly. I know I have a sight problem because I wear glasses, obviously, but it
Yes.
was worse because
So
I was
strange.
yeah, it was very strange. You know, I'm wearing glasses, but then there's blurry vision. I'm like, "What's
Yes.
happening?"
It's
Yes,
still there.
so I could feel I could feel that. Then on the worst symptom, it was the chest tightness itself, because when it comes it used to affect me a lot. Like it wouldn't go just there and then, like I would be with it maybe for 2 to 3 hours or so. And it was worse before bed when I want to sleep and then my chest feels tight. Whenever I try to sleep I couldn't, because when I sleep on the bed I feel as if I'm sleeping on my internal organs. Yeah?
Some organs are failing.
Some organs
They
are
are not
failing.
functioning.
Yes, so I couldn't sleep. That would keep me awake for long hours at night. I couldn't sleep until it goes, then that's when I can manage to sleep.
Wow.
Mhm.
So with all those symptoms, all those they were happening at once.
They
all of
were
them.
okay, so they would start with one, just like I described. The air would feel thick. When that happens, then they'll be going step by step, step by step,
Yes.
but then they'll be together. So
All of
you're,
them.
you're feeling a tight chest, but you can't breathe again.
Yes.
You know, then you're feeling nauseated. Your head feels tight, like confusion everywhere. You just be thinking like, okay, now this is it. I think I'm dying.
Now having to experience all of that in one body, I want to believe and I'm certain that it affected you a whole lot as an individual, also as a student. Kindly share with us how it affected you as a person and also as a student.
Okay, so I'll start with a student, then I go to being a person.
All right. Okay.
So most of the times, my trigger was any room that has people in it.
Wow.
So that meant rooms like the classroom,
Yes.
the lab, the library, as well as church also. So as a student, I would have to go to class every day for 5 days in a week. But
Yes.
every time I step into class, I would have a panic attack like that. So it impacted me negatively because I began not seeing the essence of going to class, because every time I go there, I feel bad, you know. I come out with chest tightness, I can't breathe. But when I'm at the room, I'll be okay. So I started avoiding class. The labs as well, I started avoiding some labs. I would go once in a while, I don't go again. And then I was also avoiding going to the library. So it affected me because I wasn't taking part in the academic activities I was supposed to take part in the way I was supposed to do it. Yeah. Then as a person, it affected me because I was equally not going to church now, because every time I go into church, we are quietly listening to the service, a panic attack comes up, and then I can't concentrate anymore. I'll just stand up and leave the church.
Wow.
Also, I was avoiding using buses because every time on a bus, I would feel bad. The attack would come in, and then I'll just drop and prefer to walk like that. So it really affected
So you have
me.
to walk even long distances.
Long distances.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been a very, very horrible experience.
Very much.
So
very much.
I believe there's somebody out there who is going through what you went through. Now that you have recovered, so they are at a stage where they're actually experiencing exactly what you experienced at the time, and so they would like to know, what are some of the things that you did that set you on the recovery journey, that helped you? What are some of the tips that you can give somebody out there who is listening?
Okay. So the first thing I did was meditation.
Okay.
Like every time I wake up in the morning, I would sit down, put headsets on, play some soft music, and then I'll just close my eyes and just begin thinking of the day. And then I just make myself at peace like that. It really helped me a great deal because after the meditation, I would go for at least some hours without having any panic attack. I could even go for class. At least I would suffice. Maybe the first 40 minutes or so, I'll be fine. But afterwards, again, a panic attack would come. But meditation helped me. Then there was also, so I watched some YouTube videos that told me of some pressure points on which I can apply when I'm having a panic attack.
Okay.
So for instance, when I'm in an exam room, I start feeling a panic attack. I would hold my hand here, my palm, then I use my finger, then I hold it like that. When I press it for at least 30 seconds, the panic attack would go.
It will
Then,
die down.
it would go.
Okay.
Then I would be there now writing. After some time it comes again, I would do the same, and it used to help me a lot. Yes, it used to help me a lot. But one thing that contributed towards me recovering was being free to share with others.
Yeah.
I shared with my roommates because they had to know what was going on. They were surprised, what's happening to you? So I shared with them, and them knowing that, they were able to check up on me every day. How are you feeling today? How is it going? So that really helped me because I
it must
had
have been
this
very
support.
strange to them.
Exactly.
I had a very similar experience.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. How was it?
Well, for me, they took interest and began to study the illness so that they can help me better.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was really good. So aside from that, I also taught my family members about it. So, I could have my dad, my mom calling me every day. How have you woken up today? You have this, just be good, concentrate on your studies.
Wow.
It really helped a great deal because I knew that there was this whole lot of people caring about me. And even if some suicidal thoughts would come in, I'll be like, no, why die and leave all these people who care about me? So I couldn't do that. Yeah.
Wow. So talking about it, he says talking about it, talking to people around, is one of the things that helped him to recover. So which means if you keep harboring it, you don't share it with anybody, it harms you, and also everybody around you gets affected because they also don't understand what's happening to you. So it's only when you speak out, when you tell them what really is going on with you, that's when they're able to understand and you receive the help that you need. So, what are some of the things that you were able to do then when you're suffering from anxiety disorder? And did you have any limitations?
Okay. All right. So like I mentioned, yeah, they began during my second year, right? So I wasn't able to do much during second year. But when I came to third year, while I was having the same disorder, I participated in a lot of things. Like for starters, I stood in Unzafamsa for elections.
Wow.
Yes, despite of having the disorder, and I managed to stand there, and I went through as the External Affairs Secretary from Zafamsa. Then I equally stood in Unzasu as the Minister of Gender Ethics and Integrity, which I lost.
Wow. That's a challenge. That's a challenge.
I lost that one, Yeah, it motivated me because it wasn't about a lose for me. It was about the friends I was able to make. It's about the experience that I had in it. It was about the fun I had in it, and also the vision that I had for the school at that time when I was standing for that position. So it felt really good. Then besides from that, I was also able to participate in some poetry contests despite having the disorder with me. I used to go. I'll go there, stand on stage, you feel the disorder coming, then you're like, no, you know what? Just go ahead.
And I think I remember you
thing.
even won an award.
Oh yeah.
As a king of what?
King of poetry.
Wow.
Yes. That time I was even almost becoming fine from the disorder when I did that, yes. But I was still having it with me that time. So yes, I equally won an award as the Ridgeway King of Poetry with the disorder with me. So I was able to do that. And then I was even able to start up a small company of my own. Called Black Shrek Media House, where we focus much on graphic designing, printing things, photocopying, like that. So I did that with the disorder with me. So I never let the disorder shut me down rather, to make me not to do things. I was there pulling over and over. So on the limitations, yes, I did have limitations because for starters, like the way I was feeling, I couldn't do exercises for too long a period of time. And then even talking, I couldn't talk for a very long period of time because when I talk for a long period of time, the attack that will come afterwards would be very bad and very severe. So I had those limitations with me, but I was able to accomplish that.
Now that's a challenge because for somebody who is suffering from the disorder and they're like, I can't do all that. So that's a challenge to us to say, despite having the disorder, he still went ahead and lived his life like he did not have it. And I think that must have contributed also to your healing.
Yes, it did. It actually did help me a lot. Especially when I was the External Affairs Secretary. Like I was serving at a platform called International Pharmaceutical Students Federation. Then I was representing Zambia in there.
Wow.
So we had some mental awareness campaigns, like we were meeting with students from around the world studying pharmacy as well. So from Nigeria, from America, from where. So we had some campaigns together, and in those campaigns I used to tell them to say, I actually have this illness,
Yes.
And then they'll be there supporting me, and it helped me as well. Yes, it really did help me too.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now that you're free from the disorder, what are you able to do now? Yeah, easily compared to when you had the disorder.
Okay,
Mm.
so I can really go to class now without worrying about having a panic
Oh
attack.
yes.
I
And
can
you're
freely,
completing.
I'm completing in the next two
Yes.
months. Two
Mm.
months. So I can freely go to class now. I
Mm.
can freely stand on the stage to do my poetry thing or any other thing
You
without
can
having to
still
worry
be on
about
this
anything.
interview, on this conversation.
Exactly. I'm also able to go to church now without
Yeah.
having to worry about any panic attacks. So
Uh,
I can go to the lab. Of course, we don't do labs now, but if I thought there were labs, I could be able to go now.
yes.
And also go to the library now. I do
Uh,
go. I don't feel anything like that. So.
and you mentioned so those were actually triggers for the panic attacks, but now he's able
Yes.
to do all that
All that.
without feeling anything or anything close to a panic attack. That's a
Yes.
very inspiring story you've shared with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
So
much.
at the time when you felt like you needed to be helped, what kind of help did you seek? Did you go to the hospital? And if at all you did, what happened?
Okay.
Mm,
So I went to the hospital, UTH,
mm,
Clinic 6. That's where I met the doctor who I had the conversation with. I described how I was feeling to her, and then she gave me a test to write and overall score. She diagnosed me in short. And then
yes.
she discovered that I had GAD. Then after that, she prescribed some medications for me to start taking. Then she instructed me on how I'm supposed to be taking them. She told me of the expected side effects that the drugs would bring, and then she also encouraged me to start some psychotherapy.
Very
So from her
important.
room, I went to the counselor's room where we made appointments. I was meeting the counselor at least 3 times in a week.
Wow.
So I used to go to UTS 3 times in a week where I would have some supportive therapy. He would be asking me questions, I'll be responding, he would be understanding me, and then he was also encouraging me to fight the disorder. And then there was also some group therapy where people who have the same disorder as me would sit on a round table, then would have a conversation. Everyone would share
Wow.
how they're feeling, you know. Yeah,
Yes.
that really helped me a great deal because knowing that there are other people out there
Like me.
like you,
Oh,
who I
wow.
never knew at that time.
That are suffering
Yeah,
from the same.
exactly.
You
So
get
that
encouraged.
encouraged me because I could even see people who were worse than I am. I was like, wow,
Yes.
there's even that. I was like, okay.
And the person
This
is
is
still
good.
living on.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it encouraged me a lot. I was like, okay, this is going to be beatable.
Mm.
And then there were some people who also said, saying, no, I had it, but I'm better now. And you'd see clearly that they're doing fine. So that gave me a roadmap to say, okay, so I may be bad now, but then I'm going to go better until I become like them and even better than them.
Mm.
So that was how it was managed. Very
So
true.
you suffered from that as a student.
Yes.
I have spoken to students that are presently suffering from the disorder.
Okay.
And I know that it is very overwhelming because I suffered from it as a student
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. And many other times when I just wanted to give up to say, okay, I think I am so overwhelmed.
Oh,
The
yeah.
lecturer, the supervisor, this one wants, they have certain expectations of
Mhm.
you. They put a certain demand on you just like any other student. And you're also dealing with these symptoms in your own body.
Mhm.
So what can you say to that student that is going through all this and they feel like giving up, they feel overwhelmed? What can you tell them? Mm.
All right. So, dear student who may be having panic attacks or generalized anxiety disorder or anything related to it at this point in time, I want to encourage you today to not give up because that anxiety disorder you're having right now is only but temporary when you believe it is, and you can be able to fight it. In as much as it may bring all those negative things in your life, focus on the positive things it brings as well because it challenges you to do things better. You know, when you have that panic attack, you'd feel as if you're inferior. People will look at you at a different way.
Yes.
So you always have to strive hard to do things that people think you cannot be able to do. You have to be able to fight it. And once you do that, trust me, everything is going to be okay. I had it in my second year. I wrote my second year exams having panic attacks, but I never even sat for a supplementary exam. I cleared everything with good grades in courses. Exactly. And then also, I wrote my third year exams having panic attacks, but I equally cleared without having to sit for a supplementary exam. So you see, you don't have to give up. You just have to fight, and once it goes, you're going to be okay.
Wow,
So,
that's so powerful. That's wonderful. The shame, especially that, you feel, oh my God, when I go to class, what if I fall down? Probably everybody will laugh at me. But
oh
you need
yeah,
to reach a point where it just doesn't matter anymore. You have a goal, like you mentioned, you have a goal, you just go forward with it until you achieve it.
very
So
true.
I love to say there is no shame in fighting for your life. You can't be ashamed for fighting for your life, for your dreams.
Oh yeah.
And so we cannot talk about a student or a pupil without talking about the teacher and the lecturer,
Oh
because they
yes.
share a relationship. Personally, I so much desired for the lecturers and some of my supervisors to understand what it meant to have anxiety disorder, so that they have a certain level of understanding. So, what can you say to some of those lecturers, some of those teachers, because they also tend to have a certain view about a certain pupil or student?
Oh
They
yeah.
probably think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
negatively of them, and yet they don't understand to say, okay, this person is really battling illness. What can you say to the teachers, the lecturer, and all those supervisors that look after their students?
Okay. So to the lecturers, the supervisors, the tutors out there, as well as the mentors who may be having people having anxiety attacks under them, I would just want to encourage you to not look down upon those people, because they equally are students just as much as others are students. And the fact that they have that illness doesn't make them any different from anyone else, because they're equally people who just have a problem. Okay, so the best you can do is to support them,
Yes.
to understand them, and to talk to them about it. Actually, it
Yes.
helps when a lecturer asks you, how are you feeling today?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
are you sure you're going to be able to write? There's just that confidence that the student is going to have to say,
Yes.
wow, my lecturer cares.
Yes.
And even when a panic attack comes in, the person won't feel inferior per se, because they will know to say everyone knows, especially the lecturers, and then they'll be there to say, let me just fight this out, let
Supporting
me
them.
support. Yes. So you have to support them wholly and entirely, because it's going to help them a great deal on the road to recovery.
Wow. Wow. I wish every lecturer could hear that and know to say there are students in my class who are actually battling that way. It's not that they are lazy or they just don't want to be committed, because you mentioned to say sometimes you miss classes because of the attacks.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have also, probably you have also met people that will tell you to say, once you are diagnosed with anxiety disorder, you live with it for the rest of your life. It's a life sentence. It's a life sentence. I have met people who have literally tried to convince me to, I have done this, I've researched.
Oh, yeah.
I'm meant to live like this for life.
Mm-hmm.
But you recovered. I recovered. People are recovering.
Exactly.
Why shouldn't you? So I want you, Conrad, to tell that person that is watching and they're saying, come on, what are you talking about? If you have panic attacks or panic disorder, you live with it. What can you tell them,
Alright.
with that belief, that mentality?
Oh, yeah.
What do you have for them?
Okay. So to that individual who is watching this video right now and has a very, very strong belief that panic attacks and anxiety are actually incurable, that you'd have to live with them for the rest of your life, I want to tell you today that that is a false belief, because that is not true. Anxiety and panic attacks are an illness of the mind.
Yes.
And so if you believe that you will not be healed, then definitely
You won't be
healed. But if you believe that you're going to be healed, then you start on the road to recovery. Trust me, it's beatable. I haven't had any panic attack for the past 1 year or so. I'm okay. You too can beat it. It's curable. Sure.
Wow. Thank you so much for those words. So it is what you believe in. You believe you can, you will. You believe you don't. It's even difficult for a counselor like me to help someone who is convinced within themselves that they can't heal. Because
Exactly.
firstly, you have to start from changing their belief. Now you go to recovery, which is very difficult. So you can heal. Everybody can heal. All right, that's very important to seek help. Counselors are there, group therapies are there, The hospital is there. So even when you are there, you know to say you are not alone. Somebody is here to guide you. Counselors guide you, they hold your hand and help you through your recovery journey. Don't just hide it or keep it to yourself. Right? So this has been me, Rachel, and Conrad. Once more, Conrad, thank you so much. Thank you so much that you did not give up on yourself. Thank you so much that you shared your life with us. There's still so much stigma out there. There's still so much negativity out there. There's still so much, there's still more people, a lot of people that don't know much about this, but you still came out and shared your life with us. And for that, we are very, very grateful. And we look forward to having more of such conversations so that more people can be helped. I hope this video has helped you in every way possible. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye bye.